Hi everyone, and welcome to our Saturday morning program. Starting off with a scratch of the nose. I'm as sick as a dog. Being in close contact with tourists does have a few problems. There was some kids the other day who were taken to the airport, and they were all the way through the trip. And well, guess I've got it. So just a bit of a head cold. I will occasionally reach for the tissues. I've got a great big roll here. Anyway, I'm fine really, just a little bit of a head cold. So look, we've got a very important topic to talk about today. And it could turn into a really easy dig at the Thai government. And look, that's easy. Criticism is easy. And I understand that the thumbnail's quite dramatic. But if you remember the story about the Emperor Nero in Rome and the legend that he was playing the fiddle, which didn't even exist during ancient Rome. He was in fact, if the story exists at all, playing the lyre, Lyhr or something. Anyway, the story goes that he was doing that, playing some sort of musical instrument whilst Rome was burning, rather than standing out the front and issuing edicts and getting his Roman fire department to go and put out the fires. So, I mean, are the Thai government sitting on their hands when it comes to the issues of PM 2.5, the air pollution problem? And just a bit like the way that they've sort of shrouded the casino issue under the name of entertainment centres, they've sort of veered off talking about air pollution, and they're talking about PM 2.5. It's sort of a way of talking about the problem without really talking about the problem. So, is the Thai government fiddling whilst Bangkok and Thailand burns? And burning with two key issues. One is the air pollution problem I just mentioned, and the other is the scam centres. And look, I mean, there are some call centres here in Thailand, and they'll call up and offer you investments. It could even be a post on Facebook for some fancy-looking shoes or shirts or something. Oh, I'd like to get that, and it turns out to be fake. These are generally sort of small-time scams. Annoying, it'll cost you money, but probably not a lot of money. The big ones to worry about are these scam gangs that are extremely sophisticated. The operators are basically smarter than you, and they know how to push your buttons, and they train people to scam money from you. Well, we got everything being watered in the background. It is sort of getting into the dry season here in Thailand. It starts to get very hot, and certainly in this part of the world, it gets hot and dry, and we probably won't see rain for about 4 months, like no rain at all. So it does turn into somewhat of a drought situation. So yeah, we do have to water every day, but water is generally fairly cheap here in Thailand. Anyway, back to where we were. These scam cities which are being set up around the borders of Thailand, in Cambodia, Laos, but principally in Myanmar. This is the biggest problem, because whilst Laos and Cambodia have functional governments who can sort of control the operations of these scam centres, or even knock on the door and say, hello, what are you doing in here? That doesn't exist in Myanmar. It doesn't have a functional government. It's just a lawless state at the moment. And there are operators who are using the lack of enforcement or control of anything to set up, and not only set up, but grow these scam cities. And I really must oil that gate one day. These are cities. These are places with 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people in them. They've got their own sort of versions of 7-Elevens. They've got brothels. They've got little gaming centres. So they do try and keep these kidnapped, captive people relatively happy, and in some cases making relatively good money, but they are captive. And the problem is that the 300,000 or so people from all around the world. I mean, I think a lot of people think they're all Chinese. They're not all Chinese. They're from everywhere around the world. And this is what is causing such a problem. Because the Thai government, the Burmese government, and the Chinese government have got governments around the world knocking on the door saying, what are you doing about these scam cities? When are you going to close them down? Now, Thailand, for their part, I mentioned yesterday, basically said, oh, look, it's not our problem. Now, again, is somebody fiddling while Thailand burns in this matter? Because it is a Thai problem. Now, the vast majority of the people who are kidnapped and taken to Mae Sot and then distributed to these scam centres arrive in Thailand. There are offers of jobs, there are offers of modelling jobs, film shoots, all sorts of ways are used to entice people. And they land in Thailand. The van is organised. There's a person there at the airport holding the sign. Oh, there's my name. You jump in the van, and then you've got this like 7-hour journey ahead of you. And as pointed out in a great interview and video, again, I put the video as a link in the description of this video, Ride with Gabby, described in great detail with somebody who is on the job, an NGO. Her name is Michelle, and she was very erudite about exactly how all this was done and how it's happening. We all know what is happening. The governments know what is happening. But everybody's pointing to the other people saying it's their problem, it's their fault. And at the end of the day, we've got these people who are captive in plain sight, just across the Thai border, who are being held against their will. They're being tortured. In some cases, there's no doubt they're going to be killed if they put up enough resistance and want to get out. Some are sold on to other scam centres. In some cases, they may ask the families of these poor victims for a large reward for their release. So, I mean, this is a really big problem. And it does nothing to the reputation of Thailand. And it's all very well for the Thai officials to say it's not our problem. But it is their problem because the people are being kidnapped in Thailand, in plain sight again, with CCTV cameras and things. They know how all this is being done, and they probably in some ways may even know who are some of the main perpetrators. But because the people driving these vans, the people that own these vans, are Thai people. The people who may organise for the meet and greet and maybe for overnight accommodation in Bangkok before they are then shipped off into Mae Sot. Now, Mae Sot is up in the northwest of Thailand, well, sort of the west, more the west of Thailand. And just across the border from Mae Sot is Myawaddy, which is a lawless Burmese town which is under the control of both the Burmese army and some of the factions like the BGF. Now, these scam centres are being operated in many ways to fund Chinese warlords and also very high-ranking Burmese military. They are a licence to print money. Somebody is investing a lot of money in clearing the land and putting together the infrastructure, including the buildings, for these scam centres. And they're not doing it because it seems like a good idea, or they're trying to build tourist accommodation so people can look at the river. Now, as we saw in yesterday's program, the distance between Thailand and Myanmar along the Mui River, in many places, is just tens of metres. And at some times of the year, particularly as it starts to get dry, there are places along that river that you can just walk across. Now, in many cases, the people who are being trafficked from Thailand into Myanmar, they're not going across the bridges, they're not going through any passport control. They're not landing at Yangon Airport. They're being trafficked from Thailand. And they're usually doing this across areas that are not controlled by the army, places where there's no CCTV. But as Ride with Gabby showed, I mean, you can see that they're building little piers so that they can bring their boat and take the people across. I mean, there's so much infrastructure being built, again, in plain sight of Thailand. And yet, there seems to be some sort of resistance to do anything about it. Are the Thai government worried about offending the Burmese? I don't think that's it. Are they worried about offending the Chinese in regards to some of these high-ranking, moneyed Chinese warlords that are running some of these centres? Not all of them, but some of them. Are they worried about the safety of the people inside these centres? I mean, they're hostages. They've been kidnapped and they're being held against their will, and in many cases harmed, tortured, electrocuted, because they want them to work hard to scam people. Now, a lot of the scams, I'm sort of veering off into other areas here, and I am quite passionate about this. But, of course, the other problem, the other existential problem, I think, is the problem with the PM 2.5. Let's go, as I pick up my iPad, to a story. We'll do that one later. Here we go. This is in the Bangkok Post today. Alarm sounds over haze. Like it's something new? Oh, we've got a haze problem. We'll just look out the window. Let's go on. The government has announced urgent measures to combat the PM 2.5 pollution crisis, including free bus and electric train rides, and asking private companies to allow employees to work from home. Again, is this a certain amount of fiddling while Thailand burns? And making the population feel, oh, the government's got this under control, they're offering us free bus rides. Is that going to solve the problem of agricultural burning, which by far is the main contributor to a lot of these smoke and pollution problems? I don't think so, but let's go on. One measure is for staff agencies to allow officials to work from home, while private companies will be asked to do the same in order to curb vehicle emissions, which is one of the sources of ultrafine dust, or the PM 2.5 pollutants. PM 2.5 microns is the size of the most dangerous particulate matter, which can sort of end up lodged in your lungs. So you've got a lot of people who are in the early stages of suffering severe chronic lung and respiratory diseases. It doesn't just happen like that overnight. It's like smoking. It takes years and years to build up. But if this keeps on happening every year to the extent it's happening at the moment, there's going to be a lot more very sick Thai people, and unfortunately expats and tourists, than there has been in the past. That's why I say it is an existential problem. The Department of Rainmaking and Agricultural Aviation was also instructed to carry out cloud seeding operations to produce more rain and improve the air quality in Bangkok. Again, they're sort of shutting the door after the horses bolted. It was also reported during the week that the air at the moment is just too dry. The dogs and the cats playing in the background there. The dog and the cat, sorry. So if the air is too dry, there's not enough humidity in the air to make rain making, well, that's not going to work. And again, it's a very localised solution. You make it rain in this sort of district here, it doesn't help that district or the wider Thailand. And more in that story, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment must monitor slash and burn practices in every province closely and take action against those who engage in these activities. Well, again, monitor? Haven't they banned agricultural burning yet? I mean, that's what they sort of need to do. I'm sorry, I'm not in the Thai government. I don't even vote in Thailand. But if you're worried about the agricultural burning, well, just ban it. Stop it. If it's known that it's causing the largest amount of air pollution in Thailand, stop it. Fill up some great big tankers, like those aeroplane tankers they've been using in California, and just put out the fires. Now, I'm not sure if Thailand has access to that technology, maybe the Army and the Navy could do with a few less tanks and a submarine, and maybe get a few of those aerial tankers. So just finishing with that story, when air circulation is poor, contractors will be asked to halt construction temporarily. Again, just little things that sound good on paper, but are just not really addressing the big problem. Ms. Petongtan, that's the Prime Minister, she wrote, police were instructed to step up inspections of vehicles for excessive black smoke emissions. Again, these cars should have been pushed off the road 20 years ago. The buses are still belching out black smoke any day of the week around Bangkok, and the police just wave them past. Nothing is done. No enforcement. So, we've covered these two problems. I'm very interested in your comments, so what I'll do now is put that down there. Oh, actually, no, what I'll do first is we'll check out the maps. So let's go firstly to the AQI. This is live on iqair.com. And, well, Bangkok looks horrid. In fact, it hasn't looked worse, I don't think, ever. Now, I've been checking this for the last 10 years. It's a story I've been following in different news organisations. I've closely monitored the situation, probably on a daily basis at this time of the year. I've spoken to the people behind IQ Air. I've talked about the way that they get access to all these monitoring stations. I had some people during the week even suggesting that there's nothing wrong with the air pollution. I woke up this morning, it's fine. And yet I can point out quite clearly that it's not fine. And so anybody who thinks that the IQ Air people are somehow, I don't know, working for some sinister organisation, it's not true. And if you are living, say, in a place like Pattaya or Bangkok today, just look out the window and you'll see that it is very poor air quality indeed. In fact, if we look over here, Bangkok, number 5 today, in the list of the world's most polluted cities. And they're in good company with Beijing in China, Kampala in Uganda, Lahore, Pakistan, and Dhaka in Bangladesh. But as you can see, as we sort of zoom out here, there's parts of, a bit too far, parts of the region are looking okay. In southern China, looks like very good air indeed. Hanoi, it looks like it's got pretty bad air, and parts of what you would call Bangladesh and eastern India have got very poor air as well. But otherwise, it's really, you can see that focus around Thailand, especially if we just zoom in. This map really doesn't like cooperating very much. No, it's the iPad and IQ Air don't really work very well together. But the other one I wanted to show you again live is the satellite photo, and let's go to that. And this is the NASA satellite photo. Again, this is northern Thailand, where the vast majority is happening regarding fires. And you can see down here in the northern parts of Cambodia, a lot of fires there, and that is largely causing some of the pollution in Thailand. But, I mean, Thailand certainly has quite a lot of fires as well. Not necessarily around Bangkok, as you can see, but in the areas around Bangkok. But further up into the northeast and up into the north of Thailand, there are fires being lit. But, it looks like northern Cambodia is, in the region, the biggest contributor to the forest and agricultural fire problem at the moment. So with that, let's go to your comments, because I'd like your contribution and the game I'd like to play today. And again, it's really easy to sort of blame the Thai government. I personally think that this is just a very, very complicated problem. Both are complicated problems. The online scam gangs and the agricultural burning. And the reason that they sort of keep on sort of putting band-aids over things and offering free public transport and asking Chinese temples to stop burning incense and stuff, is because they're just trying to control the outflow of information whilst they're waiting for a miracle. I don't think anybody can solve it. It does appear to me that there is less agricultural burning going on in Thailand than in the past, from what I can see on those maps. Excuse me. But they can't, of course, control what's happening over the borders unless they get together with those governments and work something out. But that's really complicated. Can ASEAN be involved? Can ASEAN coordinate it? Well, ASEAN's basically a trading bloc, and they're not really going to get involved in these sort of situations, but they would be an ideal organisation to be able to start coordinating this. But somebody needs to make it a priority. The Thai Prime Minister needs to basically say, we recognise this as an emergency. I mean, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the statistics, if you look at the air quality, and I dare say if we look at the rising number of people with respiratory problems checking in hospitals, that would be a very interesting statistic. I would say you're getting close to an emergency situation. This poor air has existed in and around Bangkok for most of this month. It's certainly been like that for 2 weeks. They said it was going to be better on the weekend, or now Saturday, and it is worse today than it's been at any time over the past month. So the problem's not going away, and I'm sure the leaders and the government officials are just trying to come up with a way to mitigate this. So I'm putting you in the hot seat today. I'm saying, okay, you are the Prime Minister. You are in control of the situation. Now, without throwing barbs and brickbats at the Thai government, let's come up with some solutions. And I'm going to act as the opposition and poo-poo your suggestions and tell you why they're impractical. And this is part of it. I mean, it's a government, it's got an opposition, and they have to push these ideas through with their own coalition partners. So there's a lot of negotiating to do. I mean, Thailand isn't run as a dictatorship. It's run as a sort of quasi-democracy, and solutions need to be found and negotiated and debated. So that's what I'm going to do with your ideas. I'm going to suggest that they're silly for whatever reason. So let's have a bit of fun. Hello to Daryl, Mark W, Stavros, Rock Trip on This, Nong Wua So, Scarface. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people here. So thank you very much for getting involved. Obviously, you've got a lot of ideas. I'm not going to be able to get through all of these, but I will try. Daryl McGee's got a comment. Would a register of numbers suspected to be scam callers, back to the scam centre problem? We are talking about these twin problems of the scam gangs along with the PM 2.5 problem. These numbers would have to be reported, of course. Would people report, though, and would the phone companies implement it? Well, look, I mean, that's, I suppose, not a bad idea. I think I personally, more than that, think it comes to education, doing programs like this, trying to expose the problem, talk about the problem, and make people more aware of the problem. I think that is one of the main things. Once you have to people have to then check these numbers. If you've got a phone call coming in, you're not going to go, whoa, hang on, I'll just check that against the reported numbers. I think the telecommunications are doing what they can to try and stop all these fake not so much fake, but SIM cards being used for evil rather than good. The Thai government want people to be looking at cat videos, not receiving scam calls. Never going to stop the sugarcane burn-offs, says Nongwar. So we're going to have people talking about the scam centres and the air pollution. I get that. It's a sort of a twin problem. And Scott D says, Friday night in a very cold Chicago. Hi, Scott. Daryl McGee, good morning, Scott. And so people talk to each other. David Hodgson has a comment. Morning, people. The question should be, why are people falling for these get-rich-quick scams? Because they're greedy. David, just to comment on that, the vast majority of the scams are what we call romance scams. And the people, and this has been highlighted in quite a few interviews, there's two videos in the link of this description. The one from Ride with Gabby, which was only posted this week. It's very personal. It's very detailed. I highly recommend it. And there's another one that was done about 7 months ago by Deutsche Welle in Germany, and that's called Scam Factories, I think. And they're both worth looking at to get a bit of an overall perspective as to what's happening in these places. So the romance scams are apparently the most profitable. People are much more likely to fall for the romance scams than they are for an investment scam. However, the investment scams certainly still happen. And in fact, sometimes they become both. They do this romance scam. I love you. Oh, I need some money. And so the money and that sort of comes later. So sometimes it's the matter of the loins rather than matters of the pocket that are driving people in these scams. And the people behind the phones, they're trained by these scam leaders how to get the money out of people. Things like AI are not making it any better because they're using AI to generate conversations. They're using AI to generate pretty pictures of girls and guys that are attractive to the people on the other side. So, romance scams that sometimes become investment scams are the key problem. Howdy all from Texas, says Guzzy Jack, and I apologise again for my head cold. I am fine. Good day from Adelaide, says Rachel. Heathrow, Burleigh it was a lot more beautiful in the 80s and 90s. Now it's full of wankers, says Heathrow. Okay, Richard Horton, number one problem. Tim, thank you for highlighting the issue. Well, yeah, we're sort of talking about the twin issues of the scam gangs, scam cities, scam factories on the border areas just over the Thai border, and the problem with the air pollution. And again, if I don't have to say any more, you just have to look at this photo where I'm just going to try and zoom in again. Well, what if I press Bangkok? Does that work? No, I can't zoom in. But the report from the monitoring stations was all purple and red. That means the air is really, really bad quality and very unhealthy to breathe. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Richard Woolley, hello from a very cold northwest Florida. Heathrow, that's not true. What did Heathrow say? Oh, he was talking about Burleigh Heads. Burleigh Heads, I remember it in the 70s, 80s and 90s. Beautiful scenery, but half of Melbourne is there now. Yes, you could say that about the Sunshine and the Sunshine Coast and the Surf Coast. What's it called? The Gold Coast. These are the areas north of Brisbane and south of Brisbane along the Pacific Coast. North of Brisbane is called the Sunshine Coast. South is called the Gold Coast. I did spend quite a lot of time in Surfers Paradise. I worked professionally as an event organizer there for a while. I had relatives in the Sunshine Coast. I'm veering off at the moment, but very nice part of the world. Old Expat has a question. Do you think the free bus and train fares this week will make much difference? No. I think it'll make a very small difference, but it'll make the Bangkokians and the expats who use those services feel better. By the way, they're already very, very full. The buses are busy, the BTS is busy, the MRT is busy. You make them free, you're going to put more people on those services. So then people are going to be complaining about the congestion in the trains and the buses. But as far as actually making the air quality better, a little bit, Nidnoi. Beer Bar Explorer. Hi, Tim. Just back from a month in Thailand, which even included one night in Thai Mang. A nice little town. It was bigger than I was expecting, particularly the area away from the beach. Thank you for coming, Beer Bar Explorer. And I have to say, down this part of the world, we got bright sunshine today, and we are blessed in that we get a sea breeze most of the time. The air rises inland and drags in the sea breeze. And so we usually get the air from the sea, which is obviously going to be a bit better until they start building factories out in the middle of the sea or burning crops in the sea. But at the moment, we are in a bit of a golden spot that doesn't have really bad air pollution. Okay, so Heathrow is still talking about Burleigh Heads. Heathrow, back on the target, okay? Ian Olaf Carlson. So most bad things has made the baht stronger and more people are flocking. Well, this is true. The baht is getting stronger against most currencies at the moment, or really over the past year. Or not so much getting stronger now, but have just been creeping up and remain strong with other currencies. And yes, apart from that, tourist numbers are way up at the moment. People are flocking to Thailand. Now, it's all very well people saying, people aren't going to come. People are going to stop coming. And I'm not here to try and put people coming to Thailand. Air pollution is a problem in many parts of the world. But at the moment, it is a bit of a big problem in particularly Bangkok and central Thailand. Neil, as a Farang that wishes to move to Thailand, the air pollution is a concern so great that it could put me off coming. I'm a non-smoker. I don't wish to become a 3-pack-a-day man simply by breathing. Well, look, there are parts of Thailand where you're going to have a lot less air pollution than others. And of course, when air pollution is bad, you can stay indoors. You can buy an air purifier, very, very cheap. And keep yourself well and limit the amount of time you're exposing yourself to the outdoor air. I really can't suggest anything else. I mean, if you are outside, maybe you need to wear some sort of face mask. Now, people don't want to be travelling to Thailand to be putting on a face mask just so they can walk around. Short bursts out in the air are going to limit your exposure. And when it is particularly bad, like today, like it's been for the past week, just bad timing. Scarface comment, I watched that documentary you mentioned yesterday. Indeed, shocking. Shocking as in the content was shocking. The actual documentary made by Ride with Gabby is excellent. Ride with Gabby is obviously a very adept YouTuber. If you want something a bit more formal, the DW documentary is like that. But I found the personal approach by Ride with Gabby was very, very good. And they're both linked in the description of this video. I recommend them both. Thanks, Scarface. Heathrow, I moved away 2010, sold my house. Are you talking? I'm not sure if he's talking about Burleigh Heads or Thailand. Brett Border, I watched that as well. Very informative. Thanks, Brett, for the feedback there. Scarface, about 200,000 people. I've been speaking to a number of NGOs about this problem of these scam cities around the borders of Thailand, and I'm estimating that it's over 300,000 people. That's the size of a large town in Europe. 300,000 people is a lot of people. That's for people in Australia 3 times the size of the people that can sit in the MCG watching the grand final. So, 300,000 victims held against their will. And what happens? I mean, do they keep on adding people, or do some people eventually leave? Oh, thanks for coming. Look forward to your next visit. What do they say to them as they let them out the door? Or do they never get out the door alive? We really don't know. But more information is being found. There are some people who escape. There are people who have been saved before they get to the scam centres, so they can't give us much intel about what's happening. There is scant information about what's happening in these scam centres. Of course, as time goes by, we will learn more, and we'll hear some more horror stories, I'm sure, and get a better picture of what's going on in the scam centres. Excuse me. Your program, and we are acknowledging the input from all you people. I'm making you the boss for the day, giving you the levers of control. What are you going to do? I've got one idea for the scam centres I'll mention in a moment. It's a ridiculous idea, but I think it'd work. Okay, g'day from Smogless Wollongong. Says Wilco, now Wollongong used to be a problem with bad pollution, but they have fixed it up over the years. I know the gong quite well. E&D, cool, good move. I'm thinking of doing the same now and cashing in while I can and hit Thai to live. Ms. Malley, regarding fault, the least the government can do is recognise and resolve what they can. Yeah, look, I think over the last 3 or 4 years, there has been a recognition of the problem and a recognition that the agricultural burning is the principal problem causing the greatest amount of air pollution that concentrates, depending on which way the wind's blowing, around central Thailand and Bangkok, the northeast or the north of Thailand. I am 100% sure that in the following weeks we'll be talking about the same problem in places like Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai as the wind changes. Sabbatical on YouTube also did a good video on this. I'll check that out. That's from Felt Earth Cult. E&D. Yeah, the creek is great. In the next few weeks, everybody goes back to school. I guess you used to jump off it too. Philip Beer, Tim, they are abducting children in Buriram at the moment. Yes, Myanmar is suspected to be behind this. Now, okay, why are they abducting children? So they can teach them over a number of years how to become scammers? I mean, that's scary if it's happening. I'd like to know a bit more information about that, Phil. If you do want to send me an email, you can send it to timnewtontoday@gmail.com. But yeah, don't just send email saying hi. I appreciate it, but if you do have a link you want to send, I understand you can't put the links in the comment section, but send me a link to information like that. The Indian embassies seem to be the most active in rescuing their people and warning about it at Indian airports. That's from Felt Earth Cult. Wilco, they were talking last week of putting up a fence along the Myanmar border. Likely the East-West Canal would happen before that. Wilco, the problem is it's 2,500 kilometres long. That's just the Burmese border. Then you've got the Lao and the Cambodian borders as well. There is no way that they'll be able to put up a fence. And fences can easily be cut. Putting up a wall, just not going to happen. It's impractical and it won't happen. I don't really think that's the solution either, to be honest. They'll find other ways of getting these people into Myanmar. John Swift. No one mentions the 10 coal power stations providing power to all the air cons at home. John, I think everybody recognises that the sort of industrial complex that is all the factories and the coal power stations. At the moment, of course, it's the coolest time in Thailand, starting to warm up. But, yeah, people don't really have their air cons on so much at the moment. They will during, say, April and May when it really starts cooking up in parts of Thailand. But at the moment, you've got relatively coolish days in a sort of a Thai sense. Can even get down to zero in the northern parts of Thailand in January. But yeah, there are coal power stations. They're not the only way that Thailand gets its power, but they are, of course, part of the contribution. But yeah, I suppose the government hasn't already spoken about that, but they're not going to turn the power off, are they? And I know Thailand is investing very heavily in some of these big solar farms. Huge, taking up huge spaces on lakes in parts of northeast Thailand, and a lot of investment going into these big solar farms. Whew. I'm suffering here, everybody. I really am suffering. But I appreciate, John, appreciate the input, and I think, yes, we would like to acknowledge that there are coal power stations contributing to the electricity here. Nongua So says, well, I think this is important. Had to stop drinking, Leo. Giving me gout, but Chang doesn't. Very weird. Olaf Carlson, Tim, I see a new side of you. Start to see Thailand as many of us long-time stayers. Look, I get that this all sounds very critical of Thailand. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is report the news, and I am putting a bit of a spin on it. I understand that, and I'm pointing to some of the bad. Well, there's no good side to air pollution or scam gangs, but I am trying to make us aware of these stories so that at least we can do something about our own personal safety. Very happy to hear people's ideas to mitigate their exposure to both scammers and air pollution, but I don't have a bad feeling. I'm not packing up and moving out of Thailand. I'm staying here. It would have to get a whole lot worse here and a whole lot better somewhere else for me to even consider moving. I'm staying right here. And publicly, I love Thailand, but I do acknowledge that there are some parts that are problems. And they're more problems for Thai people than they are for me. Anyway, moving on. The big W. You're talking common sense, Tim, just like Trump. Okay, there you go. Heathrow. I lived coastal New South Wales. God. A lot more natural and quiet. Bye-bye, Heathrow. See you later. Daryl McGee. Mine flares up with preservatives, but makes no sense. We are opposite. Okay, they're talking about beer. Scammers in Burma are supported via people smuggling through Thailand. Exactly what I've said. Just to refresh your memory from 10 years ago in regards to Police General Parwin Pongsirin, who was investigating people smuggling. I would love to do an interview with him. I believe he ended up sort of having to move to Australia as a refugee because of violence aimed at him here in Thailand. By obviously very powerful people to him and his family. I think he was working in Starbucks in North Melbourne at one stage, but I would really like to catch up with him. He had a great story. They can look at Malaysia on how to dispose of it all, fines and jail there for any burning. Okay. So I would be very interested to hear or see how other countries are coping with this. I think in Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia, very little is done to control these forest fires. And given the prevailing northeasterly wind, they're the countries that are causing the biggest problems for Thailand. M. Aquino, M. Esquino. Tim, you know there's a problem with Thai ladies scheming and scamming Farang. I'm sure guys are going online to see the horror stories occurring every day with those leeches. Yeah, look, the whole Thai bar girl industry is just one big scam. It's not about selling drinks, it's about prostitution. And, I mean, that is another topic on another day. We've sort of just discussed it before. But the whole idea of swinging your legs under a bar stool being chatted up by a Thai lady, just a hint. She doesn't love you and she never will. And that is a scam of sorts, more of a scheme. But yeah, that's been well discussed. Maybe we'll spend a day talking about that. I'll get some experts in from Pattaya, where a lot of that happens. Okay, Hans Rowe. I'm happy not living in Krung Thep and Chiang Mai anymore, but in the southern area of Thailand. I'd like to know which area you're in, Hans. Bronson, wow, Cambodia is out of control. It certainly is. The air pollution there is making Bangkok look clean. Cambodia air directly affects Bangkok, says Philip Beer. Well, depending where the wind's blowing, yes, but when you've got the northeasterly airflow, which is prevailing this time of the year, yes, it is a problem for Bangkok. Even down in southern Thailand, we're getting some of this smoke making its way down here with these prevailing winds. Olaf Carlson, everyone with education knows the reason for the polluted air, but it's not. There's so much money involved to make any action. Yeah, very large multinational companies have contracts with the farmers in Thailand, principally central and northern Thailand. And these companies are wanting the sugar and the corn cultivated quicker, harvested quicker, and the fields to be made ready quicker for the next lot of growing. So, yeah, there is a lot of money involved here. And Thailand, one of the great food bowls for the world, and food being one of the major, agriculture being one of the major exports. So there is a lot of money involved, a lot of poor farmers involved, and the Thai government's very sensitive to that, particularly the current government led by the Per Thai Party and by the Shinawat family, who have got very strong ties to northern and northeastern Thailand. What accommodation and the weather in March, says Craig West. Don't quite understand the question. The weather in March is quite hot. It gets hotter in April and May. But yeah, accommodation starts getting a bit cheaper in March. It goes up in April for some Songkran. My brain's starting to get a bit melted, I think. So, yeah, it is. March is a good time to travel to Thailand. I think there are great parts of Thailand to travel to in any time of the year. I sort of be focusing your efforts in the southern parts of Thailand at the moment, giving some of the air pollution, but that will, at some stage, clear up. Now, I just wanted to acknowledge some of the super chats, and thank you very much to the people who have kindly supported the program, and just a chance to shout out to Eileen and her family for dropping into Thai Muang during the week. Thai Muang is particularly hard to say when you've got a head cold. Excuse me, I apologise once again. Daryl McGee, thank you very much, Daryl. If the Thai farmers and neighbouring country farmers can see a baht, reel or kip, symbol for not burning and find other methods, then possibly they would change. How to do that, no idea. Thanks, Tim. Thank you, Daryl. Yeah, look, I think the governments of these countries need to get together with the farmers and say, hey, you've been doing this like this for years, and it's time to change. Now, even the burning of the coal power stations is nothing compared to the amount of smoke caused by this agricultural burning. There's no chimneys, there's no filtration, it's just bang, smoke up in the air, sometimes for days, out of huge fields right around the central and northern parts of Thailand. But I think they need to be shown modern practices. They need to get machinery subsidised. They need to have an area or a district provided with a agricultural machine that tills the soil, that puts all that refuse back into the soil. I don't know. I'm not really into agricultural machinery, but I know that I've seen it happen. I'm sure there's a machine that will do that. Sounds very unsophisticated, doesn't it? But there are mechanical means to do a lot of the work that the burning just does, obviously a lot quicker and cheaper. Scott D, thank you very much for your ongoing support. Haven't missed an episode in 5 years. Keep up the great work. Do you ever miss Bangkok? You used to do the Phuket-Bangkok Shuffle weekly. Yeah, there was a 2-year period. Some 238 flights from memory. No, 123 flights. Don't get the numbers wrong. Over 2 years I did 123 flights. I was flying pretty much from Bangkok during the week. Friday nights I'd jump on a plane to Phuket, and then Sunday nights I'd fly back from Phuket to Bangkok. Did that for 2 years, just after COVID, when I was involved at the Tiger. But I couldn't live in Bangkok. I just had to come back to the south each weekend, obviously for family reasons, and obviously just to sort of get the Bangkok craziness out of my head. But it's a great city. I love going to Bangkok when I do. Couldn't live there. I don't miss it, but I look forward to my next visit. Hope that was a good answer. To Jailer, thank you very much again for your support. What have you got to say? Thanks, Tim, for your news and topical discussions. Your updates are concise, engaging, always informative. A scam beta on YouTube is very entertaining. Scam beta. I'll check that out. Oh, my phone's getting very hot. My phone is providing the 5G for today's program. It does get hot. David Clark. Hello, David. Coming up to Taiwan sometime soon. Agree with Daryl. Money talks and financial incentives would be a good start. P.S. Tim, Old Town Mornington, 0 p.m. Yes, I was born in Mornington, about an hour south. Maybe more these days with the additional traffic. And yes, the air is pretty clear down in that part of the world. That part of the world sort of seen as pretty much away from just about everywhere on Earth. And in fact, they filmed the movie on the beach in parts of Melbourne and even around Mornington and Mount Eliza. And I think it was Ava Gardner, who was a star in the film On the Beach, who was quoted as saying she couldn't think of a better place to film a movie about the end of the world. So, yes, On the Beach, Neville Shute novel, worth reading and worth catching up with a movie. For me, I loved watching the movie going, oh, I remember that. So thank you, David. Thank you very much for your support as well. Much appreciated. Just make sure I don't want to miss any of these super chats. A comment from David Hodgson. Oh, where are you, David? You just vanished. There was an announcement on the loudspeaker here in Punkwon Village. Anyone caught burning crop stubble will be prosecuted. David, bring it on. We need more of that. We need every district in Thailand to say to the farmers, don't burn your crops, do something else. Especially at the moment, don't burn. I don't know what they're going to do with all that stubble after the harvesting, but they obviously need to find a way to reduce the amount of burning, to control the burning, or to get the districts to start throwing some money behind some agricultural machinery that could be then shared around the district. David again says there was an... Oh, sorry, we did that one. Vinny, guys, I really need €1 to be 40 baht again. Any idea how we can influence the world economy for that to happen? Good luck, Vinny. Yeah, I mean, the Thai baht is floated on the international money market. There's very little really that the Thai government and the Bank of Thailand can do. They can, pull the levers a little bit, but the puppet strings don't have a lot of control over the general strength of the Thai baht. I know a lot of people think the Thai baht is just sort of controlled by some people in black suits in dark corners of office buildings in Bangkok, but I don't believe that's the case. It's an openly traded currency. Dean, seems to flu season across Thailand during the winter season. I don't have the flu. I've just got a bit of a head cold. I feel fine. The flu is a very different matter. If you got the flu, you would know about it. I would know about it. I'd be flat on my back in bed. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. I've got a head cold. It will pass. But thank you very much anyway. Corporate, Nebula 37 says corporate agriculture. Yes, it's corporate. We get that. But, and that's what makes it difficult for the Thai government to control, because so much big money is involved. But they've acknowledged the problem. Everybody sort of knows the problem, but they are going to have to do something about it. These big companies, this corporate sector, are going to probably have to throw some money at the farmers to provide them with the resources to control the remnants of their crops rather than burning them. I ran into a Farang during high season. He said it was too hot. It was so hot. Oh, it's gone. I was reading it and he deleted it. Comment from John Armstrong. Hi, John. Every rose has a thorn. If you use a plough to turn the stubble underground, you have to burn diesel. Yeah, well, there you go. But I would say, with respect, John, that the burning of the diesel, unless they've got solar-powered ploughs, would be a lot less than the vast amounts of smoke that are produced when they light the fires. But yeah, you're right. There's no zero sum for this. There's going to be a trade-off, whatever is done. BEL, are there Thai groups... Are there Thai groups trying to do something about the pollution, or is it just the Farangs going on about it? No. The Thais are equally pissed off about it. But the Thai people are just generally a bit more, sabai about a lot of issues. So I think, obviously, here in this particular comment section, it is a lot of foreigners having a whinge about a Thai problem. But, yeah, that's what we're here to do. Okay, please hit the like button to support Tim. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Raggedy Man, everybody in Bangkok should go south. Our government is stupid. They can't do anything about the air quality. Well, I don't think they're stupid. And I think they are trying to do something. I'm pretty sure there are furious phone calls being made as we speak to try and mitigate the situation a little bit. I wanted to finish by talking about the scam centres. I don't know. I would like to invite any sort of paramilitary group that might be listening in at the moment. Take the flags off your shoulders. I'd like you to arm up, get the black makeup, do the whole SWAT thing. I'd like somebody with a helicopter to be able to get these people to drop into the middle of one of these scam centres, fling open the doors, and take out some of the scam gang leaders. Now, hopefully this can all be organised today and we can get the situation solved overnight. But I don't want anybody to get in trouble. But just make sure you've taken the flags off your shoulders. So if there are any paramilitary groups out there that would be able to help, that would be great. Now, somebody, I don't know who, needs to open the doors to these scam centres and arrest a few people and set a few people free. And it needs to happen sort of urgently. If I had the whereabouts, I'd do it. I feel really, really sorry. I think about the people inside these scam centres often. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but I'm just really... It hurts me deeply that these people are being held against their will. They would be frightened. In many cases, they're being tortured. As I said, I suspect that a lot of them end up we'll never hear of them again. They've just been disappeared. And everybody, there just seems to be nothing being done about it. Worse than that, as we've seen evidence, and partly on videos like Ride with Gabby, link in the description, they're building more buildings. They're clearing more land just over the border, just right on the Moy River, just in places near Myawaddy and south, along that river, where they can easily get people from Thailand into Myanmar. So, this is seen as a growth industry. So there's going to be more people in these scam centres rather than less in the future. And I would love to do something about it. I mean, there's no use a 66-year-old man going to the border and when the car arrives, the van with these armed people and these bewildered people who got off the plane at Suvarnabhumi Airport 10 hours earlier, and where the hell am I? There's no use me standing there going, stop, I will not let you go across the border. Get back in the van and back to Bangkok. The drivers are not going to go, oh, okay. They're going to go, bang, and I'll be gone. But somebody needs to do something. I really feel that this is a big, big public relations problem for specifically Thailand. There's no use government officials like we reported yesterday saying it's not Thailand's problem. It is Thailand's problem. It's happening just across the river. Where do you think they're getting the power for these scam cities? Where do you think they're getting the telecommunications? They're not getting it from Myanmar. They're getting it from Thailand. So somebody needs to go along the river with an axe and go, bang, cut that cable, bang, cut that cable. Oh, telecommunications tower, 10 metres from the shore. We're going to move that inland and block it from being used in Myanmar. That sort of stuff can be done quite easily. So, if there are any paramilitary groups out there, come here and I'll give you my ideas. I'll help you coordinate it. I'll help you design a nice uniform. Obviously dark, maybe a bit of camo, nice hats. A hat like this. There you go. How's that? Christmas present. So thanks very much to the people who gave me this. I can sort of make it all look nice. There we are. Nice and neat. Oh, it's better when it's all sort of messy, isn't it? So, I think we need to organise somebody to drop in. Give them a bit of a surprise. Fling those doors open and, invite some of the scam leaders to sit down and have a little chat. And with that, obviously, I'm veering into the absurd. Thunderbirds are go, indeed. I'll design your logo for your uniform. I can do that. And I'll come and I'll shoot the whole thing, but from the Thai side. I don't think I should go over the border. We need the A-team, says Daryl. You're absolutely right. I'm more outraged by the grooming gangs in the UK. Okay, Bronson, well, good for you. This is a really big problem here in Thailand. I'm in Thailand. I'm talking about Thailand. I'm talking about Myanmar. I've got a Burmese partner. I do hear a lot more information than I can possibly ever publish. But this is a really big problem. I worry about the air quality in Thailand, says Joe. I grew up in California when the air quality was bad, but I'm a little sensitive to this issue. Felt Earth Cult. I'm sad Thailand is allowing casinos. They're people destroyers. These scam cities set up along Myanmar are part of the problem. They're a big part of the problem. But in places like Laos and Cambodia, they dress up these scam centres as residential neighbourhoods and casinos. Now, these are casinos that you or I can't walk into. They're dressed up as casinos but run as scam centres. But they do that in those countries to sort of have a veneer of civility, a veneer of normality. Oh, we're just running a casino. And I'll come in, there's some people down there doing a bit of gambling. Sorry, I can't let you upstairs. But in Myanmar, it's much more blatant. And if you go on to the Ride with Gabby, click in the description below, you'll see some aerial shots that he ventured, and he was able to do it. He mentioned that there appears to be like GPS blocking that made his drone sort of fly erratically. So they're doing everything they can to avoid detection. But you can literally stand on the Thai side of the river and watch them clearing the land and building more scam centres. It's just ridiculous. It's happening right in front of our eyes. Looking like an Aussie ready for a night in Pattaya, Tim. That makes you look 20 years younger. Thank you, Stephen. Looks like Shane Warne. Is that dandruff on your shoulder, Tim? Excuse me. One thing I don't have is dandruff. Los Angeles has better air quality these days as Bangkok, according to IQ Air app. Yeah, I mean, look, at the moment, parts of Southeast Asia, China looks relatively good at the moment. Around Hanoi and Vietnam, particularly bad. Central Thailand is particularly bad. Northern Cambodia is particularly bad. And then you've got places like Bangladesh and eastern India that are particularly bad at the moment. So, yes, the fires are part of the problem. Industrial air pollution is another part of the problem. It all together makes for a bad air quality that does affect the lives of the communities living near or under that particular area. So it shouldn't put off people travelling to Thailand. I mean, this is advice from me. I'm not saying that it won't happen. But obviously the problems with the scam gangs is causing a lot of publicity, a lot of negative publicity in places like China, because there have been some sort of celebrity people, some well-known people who have made big headlines. Unlike, if I was kidnapped and thrown into a scam centre, no one would know about it. I'm just a nobody. But there are people, of celebrity status who have suffered under these scam gangs or had a close call, and that's brought a lot more attention to the problem. And I suppose it's going to take an influencer, like a real influencer, to go to some of these areas of bad air pollution to go, I can't breathe, or I've got respiratory problems, or here I am in hospital after a week in Bangkok, to bring attention to the air pollution problem. That's the way that things happen these days. And me pointing to graphs and pointing out facts, it doesn't seem to do anything. But I will continue to do my tiny little bit to bring attention to both these issues, which I said at the start and I believe are existential problems for Thailand, both the online scam centres and the role that Thailand plays in them, and of course the air pollution problem, which is a problem from January through to April every single year, mostly around central Thailand, northeast and northern Thailand, depending where the wind's blowing. Felt Earth Cult, some smoggy pics of Phnom Penh being posted on Reddit last few days. Can't even see the sky, worse than Siem Reap. I can see blue today and most days regardless of levels. And TH says my Dyson air purifier runs on level 10 by sealed rooms. Could not reach a PM under 20. PJ Tomo, I met with some former Chinese colleagues last week in Hong Kong for their Chinese New Year party, and they all wanted to talk about how Thailand is unsafe for Chinese now. And also, thank you to Valdez. Thank you very much for your involvement in the program today and for your kind and generous contribution. appreciate that, and I think I've covered the other super chats. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings to an end this discussion about Thailand's government fiddling while Bangkok burns, and not just literally but figuratively. So, yeah, what are they going to do? I'm not sure whether providing free bus services is going to fix the problem, but it might make people feel good for a couple of days, and governments are good at that. Have a great Saturday. I've got the day off tomorrow, hopefully back on Monday with most of this cold gone. Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. Do I have to remember anything else? Yes, it's Australia Day in Australia tomorrow. So happy Australia Day, whether you're going to be having a barbecue or going to some sort of celebrations. I was chairman of a local Australia Day committee for many, many years. Well, on the board, and then chairman, I think, for 1 or 2 years, down in the Shire of Mornington, and used to become the was the Shire of something else. It was the Shire of Flinders, I think, for a while. I don't know what it is these days, but we used to have our annual celebrations around Mornington, and the fireworks and the whole thing. I used to really enjoy it. I think Australia Day, like a lot of these things, has become much more political in recent years. That's a shame. At the end of the day, it is a day when everybody can get together and celebrate, well, a clean and vibrant country. And I won't go any further than that. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Subscribe. Oh, please subscribe. That'd be great. Feel pity on me. And subscribe. Have a great Saturday. Bye.